From the national newsroom of the Canadian Press, I'm Karen Rebo. The relative calm of a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas since January has come to an abrupt end today, with Israel launching dozens of airstrikes on targets across the Gaza Strip. Palestinian officials say more than 320 people have been killed. Israel says the operation is open-ended and expected to expand, raising fears of the 17-month-old war fully reigniting. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said he ordered the strikes because of a lack of progress in talks with Hamas to extend the ceasefire. Retired U.S. General Doug Lute explains why the ceasefire was so fragile.
Neither the Israelis nor Hamas have any reason to trust one another. So there's no trust, and the slightest wrinkle in the phased approach to the ceasefire.
Hamas says Israel's return to war amounts to a death sentence for around 24 living hostages held in Gaza. Prime Minister Mark Carney says comprehensive bilateral talks with America can't happen unless U.S. President Donald Trump knocks it off with his comments about wanting to make Canada a 51st state. Carney made the comments in London yesterday during his one-day trip to France and the UK.
We've called out those comments. They're disrespectful. They're not helpful. And they need to stop before, and they will have to stop before we sit down and have a conversation about our broader partnership with the United States.
Carney said his first foreign trip as PM to meet with his counterparts in Paris and London was about security and Ukraine. Today, Carney will be in Iqaluit, Nunavut, to reassert Canada's sovereignty in the Arctic. Shoppers across Canada are bracing for the potential shutdown of Hudson's Bay Company stores. Several racks of deeply discounted merchandise were picked clean at stores from Edmonton to Toronto yesterday, while the centuries-old company was in an Ontario court looking for approval to liquidate all its inventory as early as today. A judge hasn't decided yet whether to allow the Bay to do so. Inflation figures are due out today from StatsCan for February. A union representing more than 4,000 school support workers in Alberta says members have ratified collective agreements with 2 Fort McMurray school districts to end a 2-month strike. And the SpaceX Dragon capsule carrying Sonny Williams and Butch Wilmore, along with 2 other astronauts, is now headed back to Earth. Originally planning to depart the orbiting lab tomorrow, reporter Andrew Dimbert says NASA instead cut them loose a little early, given the iffy weather forecast this week.
The NASA astronauts stuck in space are finally homeward bound. Butch Wilmore and Sonny Williams left the International Space Station this morning. The SpaceX capsule providing their ride home, undocked right on schedule. What started as an 8-day mission is now on day 287 due to technical problems on their original spacecraft. They're due to splash down off Florida's Gulf Coast late this afternoon.
This is the Canadian Press. In sports, NHL action Monday night. Austin Matthews scored twice and added an assist in the Toronto Maple Leafs 6-2 dismantling of the Calgary Flames. Toronto's captain was happy with his team's bounce back after dropping 5 of their last 6 games.
Start was much better than it has been, and just the life and energy that I think all 20-plus guys brought to the rink today was great.
Alex Tuck scored a power play goal with over 10 seconds left in overtime, and Buffalo snapped an 8-game road losing streak with a 3-2 victory over Boston. NBA action Monday night. The Phoenix Suns whipped the visiting Toronto Raptors 129-89. And in curling, Rachel Homan and her Canadian crew beat the U.S. 8-4 Monday night to improve their round-robin record to 4-1 at the LGT Women's World Curling Championship in South Korea. Homan's Ottawa-based team scored deuces in the 2nd, 4th, and 8th ends. Canada's next game is against winless Turkey. From the Canadian Press, I'm Karen Rebo.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to follow and subscribe. For more of today's top stories, visit thecanadianpressnews.ca.